Hey everybody, Aaron Counts Sage Dynamics, and this is the annual Bourbon and Whiskey episode. What a year. This is year 8 of this video series, actually. Been quite a ride. If you're not familiar, I think some people wait all year for this video, and some people are probably seeing it for the first time. I am a whiskey and a bourbon connoisseur, a bit of a layman, somewhat of an amateur aficionado, if you will. So throughout the year, I try to check out a couple new flavors, nothing extreme. I generally stick with one that is my kind of everyday, well, not every day, but my, if I want to have just a drink on a special occasion. And then occasionally I have students gift me bottles throughout the year during my travels all over the United States. People know that I'm into bourbon and whiskey, so they'll give me something that they find enjoyable. And often, in fact, pretty much every time it's happened so far, their tastes have been, well, appreciated by me. So this year, kind of sticking things a little bit close to the familiar. I didn't check out as many new flavors as I have in previous years, but I do have some good stuff for you, so let's check it out. First up is my go-to. If you'll remember from last year, Burning Chair was something I expected based on the name and based on the fact that it has a wine lineage. It comes from a winemaker, which in the past, winemakers making attempts at bourbon and whiskey have gone terribly, no pun intended, awry. So I wasn't expecting good things from this. It had, it's got a 98-point score in Sunset Magazine, which I usually equate to nothing. Never really applies to me. I don't really agree with their usual, ratings. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that I like Burning Chair a lot, and this is my, I think, second bottle this year. Haven't been sipping on it as much as maybe I would have liked to. It's been a very busy year for Sage Dynamics, both in the professional and personal world. But Burning Chair has been kind of my go-to if I just wanted to have a nice relaxing drink. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to find out in the world. Pretty much have to buy a bottle. A couple different bourbon touting bars that I've gone to throughout the year, here and there, have not carried or heard of it, which maybe is a good thing. Because anytime something gets popular, it seems to get allocated and then it becomes the mythical Pappies, which is overrated. Old 55 was a pleasant surprise. It was given to me by a student early in the year, and it is a small batch. This is bottle number 57, barreled in the spring, bottled in the spring, barreled in 2018, or I'm sorry, barreled 2018, bottled in 2022. And this is from Newton, Indiana. Newtown, Indiana is probably how they pronounce it. You know how the English language goes. There's just something magical about it. It's a 50% alcohol, so it's decently strong depending on what your tastes are. What appealed to me about it is just I don't want to say the rarity so much as the exclusivity. I guess rarity, the small batch concept is often lost on large production. Something may be called small batch, and it is small batch in comparison to their regular run-of-the-mill. Like if you take Four Roses, for example, their small batch is really good. But their small batch is a smaller distillery's full production for the year. It doesn't mean that you can't have good flavor from something that is widely available. I mean, Jameson is delicious and it's everywhere. But this has a very mellow flavor that's mellow throughout, all the way through. If I was going to compare it to something, and I know I don't like to do comparisons, but we make exceptions when we have to. It has almost like a dessert whiskey quality to it, like Basil Hayden's does for me. It's something that you can just sip neat. You can obviously put it on ice or stones if that's what you're into. Or if you're a heathen, you could just mix it with Diet Coke or sour mix or lemonade, or one of my favorite things to do, orange juice. But straight, it's delicious. I have been sipping on this bottle because I want it to last as long as possible, because who knows when I'll be able to get another one. Another gifted bottle, 94 proof. This is the Milam and green with an E, so you know it's going to be classy, pinky up kind of stuff. Again, student gifted this to me. I literally, as you can tell, haven't really gotten into it, but I have had a finger or two because it was necked up pretty good. I'm not a rye fan. And this does seem to have a higher rye content, even though it's not considered a rye whiskey. So similar to Bullet in that vein. But it's delicious. It's smooth, but it does have a sting at the end of it. I would equate it almost to like a subtle, like white whiskey if you turn the volume down halfway. But I can appreciate that. Sometimes that bite reminds you that you're alive and you're drinking whiskey for the experience as well as the taste. Look, I get it. Crown Royal is the butt of many, many jokes. Usually it's the bags that are the butt of many, many jokes because no one has ever kept anything in a Crown Royal bag that was legal. Generally, all kinds of evidence is found in them on traffic stops and all kinds of other hilarious meme-worthy events. Salted caramel Crown Royal. There has become a trend. There is a trend, I should say, of whiskey and bourbon companies flavoring. Jack Honey, Jack Apple. It goes all the way back to SoCo and Lime, which was something you had to actually mix. Crown Royal's done it with the apple, which my wife really enjoys. My mother-in-law gave me this Crown Royal salted caramel. This is the second bottle we've had in the house, and what a treat. It's like whiskey candy. I think that's the best way I can describe it. If you wanted something that you really don't have to put your pants and your belt on to drink, you know what I mean? It's not something you got to put your shoes on for. You got to get dressed, you ain't got to sit up straight. You can pour yourself a glass, you can throw ice in it, you don't have to throw ice in it. It's not putting on airs. It's just something you can relax with. It's like a full-grown man eating a candy bar and smiling about it. You can just do it. And it's okay to do that once in a while because you're secure in who you are. The bag is brown, so that's cool. I didn't keep the bag because I feel like that's just like some kind of curse that I don't want to attract to myself. But if you can find it, because they say it's limited edition, I don't know how true that is. It may become one of those seasonal things, a little varietal that they'll put out once a year, Christmas-ish time, so maybe you can run out and find it now. Also, mixing it with eggnog is a fantastic, amazing experience. Like a flavor IED goes off in your mouth. So yeah, check out the salted caramel, and you don't even really have to feel guilty buying it because, again, you're secure in who you are. Not all good news, of course. Some of you were probably waiting for it. I recently moved to Tennessee, so I wanted to check out some Tennessee whiskeys because there's some pretty famous whiskeys that hail from Tennessee. The first one I checked out was this Daddy Rack, and as you can see, I didn't really have much of it. It's aged 3 years, 8 months. What do we got? 60% alcohol by volume, which is 120 proof. I don't know why they just didn't age it 4 years. I figured like you're almost there, but whatever. I think it's newer. I didn't find a lot about a lot about it on the internet. It's called Daddy Rack, which is kind of a strange name, but they're running out of things to call whiskey and bourbon, I think. They say it's cask strength. It's a single barrel. It's not terrible, but it's twice the price for the same kind of flavor I would expect from a bottle you buy just because it's plastic and you can easily sneak it into a baseball game. I was expecting more. I don't know why. It was reasonably priced. Well, not reasonably priced. It was almost $50. So I was expecting something, $50 worth. It's a limited edition, so saith the neck up here, which I really hope is true. This is kind of a back to the drawing board kind of situation, I believe. It's something you can drink if you mix it. Some of you might disagree, but it has an astringent taste to it. It's not the worst. We're going to save the worst for last. It's not the worst by any stretch of the imagination, but it's something that you almost have to crush with another flavor. And then it's like, well, why not just drink something else entirely? So if you were desperate and you had a caramel-colored cola of some sort, I think RC would go really well with this. I was using Diet Coke, well, actually Coke Zero. Coke Zero Sugar, I'm not really concerned. I don't know what the name is anymore. Yeah, so you could mix it with something like that. I did try it with orange juice, and that was not good, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I mean, if you're into a bit of self-abasement, a bit of masochism, if you will, with your whiskey and your bourbon, maybe you could pick up this. But I will not be buying another bottle, and this one will probably sit until it oxidizes, and I got to throw it out. Another Tennessee whiskey, Big Mustache. I honestly bought this just because I thought the bottle looked cool. It had this 1600s New Orleans pirate rum bottle look to it, and it's called Big Mustache, and it's got this Medusa-looking gentleman in a suit on it. I thought that was kind of cool, so I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to check it out. I'm trying another one. I wanted it to be good. I did. I really did. But it's not. 50% alcohol by volume. I don't have anything nice to say about it. Well, besides the fact that I think their marketing is on point. I like the logo. I like the bottle. As far as the taste goes, if you could survive a shotgun blast to the mouth, I imagine it would taste something like this. It is just vulgarity in a liquid form. It is unconscionable that anyone in any kind of focus group release this. It's almost like some wealthy, eccentric people got together, like some Howard Hughes, like the late stage Howard Hughes types guys got together. You know, long fingernails, they don't wear shoes, they sleep in potting soil, but they're like just filthy rich, and they know the billionaire handshake. They got together and said, hey, let's play a joke on a very small group of people, because I can't imagine that this has a widespread distribution. I only saw it in one liquor store, and I end up going back to that liquor store to pick it up. The bottle got me, I'm going to be honest, but the the taste it's just terrible. I mean, I don't know if there are words in the English language. It's not the worst taste by far, but it's in the top 3 worst whiskeys I've ever had, easily. So yeah, if you wanted 100 proof, I don't know, physical assault of your esophagus and stomach and palate in general, reach for Big Mustache. This is Second Glance. Second Glance is made by the same people who brought us the wonderful Burning Chair. Lightning does often strike twice in the same place, in fact, frequently. But the saying goes, lightning does not strike twice in the same place. And I think that saying would, even though it's an incorrect saying, definitely apply to this. Second glance. Second glance is another way to say whiplash, which is exactly what you get when you drink this. It is terrible. It's like they took everything that was wonderful and good and honest and pure and chaste about Burning Chair and threw it away, and then poured, you know, nitrometh and ethanol in a bottle, swirled it around, dropped in some you know, 2-day aged whiskey, and gave us this. 88 proof, 44% alcohol by volume. It's got the same bottle, you know, and that's how they're going to get you. That's how they're going to get you. So, in case in point, the Burning Chair got a 98 in the Sunset magazine, which is a magazine for people not like me that read. This one got a 94. Okay, so this one was just right by happenstance. This 94, I don't know how they got it. I don't know what their grading metric is, but it's terrible. It's just, how do I put it? What is a good way to put it? Put it in the trash. Yeah, just right in the trash. Those of you who are watching this video, you'll be lucky enough in the fact that you don't have to buy it, so you're never going to have to worry about having to throw away something like this. This is like the liquor equivalent to a free bologna sandwich. Like, you can afford bologna, so why would you take a free bologna sandwich? Because that's just questionable, especially if it was handed out to you on the street. And that's kind of the feeling I get from this. It's just like, there are so many things you could do to avoid drinking this that you should just always do those things. And don't even, like, I understand some of you are going to be like curious and be like, you know what, maybe I'll feel differently, or, oh, I got to check this out if it's that bad. Trust me, you're going to regret it. You're going to need therapy if you buy this. I'm fairly certain that if the flavor was equatable to proof, that you could probably put a rocket on the moon with this. It tastes so bad. Do not buy. do not buy Second Glance. Just the whiplash, the whole whiplash thing. Don't buy it. But definitely, if you haven't, and this is second year in a row, the Burning Chair. I highly, highly, highly recommend the Burning Chair. This may be one of my top favorites. And I know we already talked about how top 3. And if you're wondering, I know we're doing a little 3-card monte here. This is also in the top 3. I bumped another one down. So now this year I have 2 of my top 3 worst flavors ever. Yeah, there we go. But the Burning Chair, again, check it out. Definitely check it out. It's definitely in my top favorites. I don't know if it's in my top 3 because I got a top list for bad, top list for good. But it's up there. So yeah, those of you wondering, and I know it's going to be a question that's going to come up. This is not the last year for the bourbon video. I have been announcing at the end of videos for quite some time that I am going to Patreon. However, and I'm going to do a video about that topic. I've been waiting towards the end of the year because the big switch is coming in January. I wanted to do a video prior to that, so you'll see that coming soon. You're still going to see the bourbon videos every year, but content is going to be exclusively released on Patreon going out. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't see Sage Dynamics videos, but you're not going to get them like you've been getting them for the past, well, 9, almost 10 years, video a week. It's been a long run, and I'm still going to continue doing video content, but I'm taking things in a slightly different direction for some of what I do. Looking to broaden my video horizons, if you will. And Patreon, moving to Patreon is definitely part of that concept. But I'll do a video on that in the future. So that has been this year's 8th year, our 8th bourbon video. Let's go ahead and say it one more time. Burning Chair, 2 years in a row, definitely something you should be checking out. Also, if you can get your hands on it, yeah, the Old 55 Distillery from Newtown, Indiana, fantastic flavor. So one of these, Burning Chair is probably going to be a little more realistic to get your hands on. From what I understand, there aren't too many of these bottles floating around, and I will be sipping ever so slowly because of that. But Burning Chair, I already got a second bottle in reserve just in case. As I finish this one off, and it's almost empty. But that has been this year's bourbon and whiskey video. I'm Eric with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly. Wait, no. Drink whiskey responsibly and accordingly. Yeah, we'll go with that.